The brush glides across your lips, painting the final layer of perfection. The mirror reflects not your face, but your mask. Flawless, composed, untouchable. Outside, the lanterns glow, and the world waits for your performance. Every smile you give hides a secret. Every bow conceals exhaustion. You are beauty itself, graceful, silent, and trapped behind the illusion you created. This is your life as a geisha. A perfect smile and a hidden pain. You're 17, and your world has become a stage where every gesture carries weight, where every smile must be perfect, where your very existence is performance. The morning light filters through paper screens as you kneel in the practice room, back straight as bamboo, fingers positioned just so on the shamisen. Your sensei watches with eyes sharp as winter wind, noting the slightest tremor in your wrist, the barely perceptible hesitation in your stroke. Again, she commands, and you begin the piece once more, each note a step toward the impossible standard that defines your life. Your name was Akiko once, whispered by your mother as she braided your hair in the countryside. But that girl faded the day you walked through the Ochaya doors, replaced by someone refined, someone who exists to embody an ideal. Now you are Sayuri, meaning small lily, a name that carries the weight of centuries of tradition. You wear it like the elaborate kimono that restricts your breathing, okading in equal measure. Beautiful and suffer. The training never stops. Before dawn, you practice calligraphy, each stroke deliberate and flowing, your hand moving across paper like water over stones. The characters must be flawless, expressing not just words, but the very essence of grace. A single imperfect line means starting over, means another hour of practice while other girls your age sleep peacefully in distant homes. Your fingers ache, stained with ink that never quite washes clean, but you continue because perfection is not a destination, but a relentless journey. After calligraphy comes dance, and the wooden floor beneath your feet knows every step by heart. The fan in your hand becomes an extension of your soul, opening and closing with movements so precise they seem effortless. But effort lives in every muscle, every controlled breath, every calculated pause. Your body learns a language that speaks without words, tells stories through the arch of your neck, the turn of your wrist, the flutter of silk sleeves. Hours blur together as you repeat sequences until they become instinct, until the dance dances itself through you. The tea ceremony demands different perfection. Here, every motion carries spiritual weight. Every placement of cup and utensil follows rules older than memory. You learn to move like meditation itself, slow and purposeful, transforming the simple act of preparing tea into something sacred. The steam rises from the bowl, and in its swirling patterns, you see the endless practice that brought you to this moment. Your hands, once clumsy with childhood, now move with the certainty of tradition. But it's the shamisen that truly owns your soul. The three strings sing stories of love and loss, of seasons changing and hearts breaking. Your fingers find their positions without thought now, muscle memory guiding you through melodies that have haunted these streets for generations. The music flows through you, and for brief moments, you forget the weight of expectation, the constant scrutiny, the careful construction of your public self. In those moments, you're neither Akiko nor Sayuri, but something in between, something real. The mirror becomes your most honest companion and your cruelest judge. Each morning, you paint a new face over your own, white powder smoothing away imperfections, red lips drawn with mathematical takes precision. The transformation hours, each step a ritual that separates you from the ordinary world. Your reflection shows a living artwork, a breathing poem, but sometimes you catch glimpses of the girl beneath and wonder if she's still breathing too. Your fellow apprentices share this strange existence, each of you learning to be beautiful in identical ways, while struggling to maintain something uniquely your own. Conversation between lessons carries an undercurrent of competition and camaraderie. You help each other with kimono ties and makeup techniques, but you also know that only one of you will debut as the season's most promising geisha. Friendship blooms carefully here, like flowers that must share limited sunlight. The Ochaya mother watches everything with eyes that miss nothing. She corrects your posture with sharp words, adjusts your kimono with impatient hands, reminds you that clients pay for perfection, not effort. Her approval comes in brief nods, rare smiles that feel like sunlight after storms. You learn to read her moods in the set of her shoulders, to anticipate her needs before she voices them, to disappear into service so complete it becomes invisible. Evening lessons bring instruction and conversation, the art of being charming without being forward, entertaining without being vulgar. You practice pouring sake with movements that suggest water flowing downhill, natural and inevitable. Your laugh becomes a studied music, your silences pregnant with meaning. Every word you speak must delight without revealing too much, must engage without demanding. You learn to be fascinating while remaining mysterious, to give the impression of intimacy while maintaining careful distance. The weight of kimono grows familiar, silk layers that restrict and beautify simultaneously. The obi around your waist feels like armor some days, protection against a world that demands so much grace and ability. Your feet, bound in white tabi and wooden gaita, learn borders on impasse to glide rather than walk, to move with the fluid motion of a dream. The elaborate hair ornaments catch lamplight as you turn your head, each kenzashi placed with meaning, each position telling its own small story. Pain lives in the spaces between performances. Your shoulders ache from holding perfect posture, your feet throb from dancing on wooden floors, your face sometimes feels frozen in its painted mask. But this discomfort becomes part of the art, hidden beneath layers of beauty and tradition. You learn that true grace means making difficulty look effortless, making suffering appear as serenity. Letters from home arrive sporadically, your mother's careful script carrying news of rice harvests and village celebrations. You read them in private moments, these connections to a life that feels increasingly distant. Your old friends have married, had children, settled into rhythms you can barely remember. Their world moves forward while yours circles in the careful repetition of ancient traditions. Sometimes you wonder if you're preserving something beautiful, or if something beautiful is preserving you. The nights when you're not training stretch long and quiet. You sit by windows overlooking narrow streets, watching ordinary people live ordinary lives. A mother calls her children inside for dinner, her voice carrying the casual authority of unconditional love. A man returns home from work, his shoulders bent with honest exhaustion. These glimpses of simple humanity feel both foreign and achingly familiar, like memories of a person you used to be. Your reflection wavers in the evening light, caught between the geisha you're becoming and the girl you were shamisen strings echo. In the distance, playing melodies that sound like questions without answers, like beauty that costs more than anyone should pay. Your first client arrives on a spring evening when cherry blossoms drift past the Ochaya windows like snow. The proprietress smooths your kimono one final time, her fingers adjusting the obi with practiced precision. Your debut moment has come after years of preparation, and your heart pounds beneath layers of silk like a caged bird testing its wings. The sliding door whispers open, and you step into a world where your training transforms into livelihood, where your carefully constructed beauty becomes currency. The businessman sits across from you, his eyes appreciating the artwork you've become. You pour his sake with movements fluid as morning mist, each gesture choreographed through countless repetitions until perfection appears effortless. Your conversation flows like water over stones, touching on poetry and seasons, art and philosophy, never venturing into the personal territories that remain forever guarded. You are entertainment incarnate, a living embodiment of refinement that allows him to forget the harsh edges of his everyday world. But beneath the powder and performance, something sharp cuts through your composure. His gaze lingers too long on the curve of your neck, the glimpse of wrist where your kimono sleeve falls away. You recognize hunger disguised as appreciation, desire wrapped in cultural reverence. Your training kicks in automatically, deflecting his advances with the subtle skill of a master swordsman, redirecting attention to the tea ceremony's sacred movements, the shamisen haunting melody, anything but the commodity he believes he's purchasing. The evening stretches into hours that feel like lifetimes. You dance with fans that flutter like butterfly wings, your body telling stories of ancient love affairs and tragic separations. Each movement costs you something invisible. Each smile draws from a reservoir that never quite refills. The businessman applauds your performance, slips extra money to the proprietress, requests your company again next week. You bow with perfect grace, your face revealing nothing of the exhaustion that settles into your bones like winter cold. Back in your small room, you remove the elaborate facade piece by careful piece. The wig comes off first, releasing your scalp from its tight embrace. Pins scatter across the wooden table like fallen stars, each one a small weight lifted from your head. The white makeup dissolves under your cloth, revealing skin flushed from hours of careful control. Your natural face emerges gradually, like dawn breaking over familiar mountains. Sleep comes fitfully, haunted by dreams where you run through rice fields with muddy feet and unkempt hair, laughing without calculation. You wake to find tears on your pillow, salt staining the silk that even here surrounds you. The morning light filters through paper screens, calling you back to another day of transformation, another performance in the endless theater of your existence. The seasons cycle through your life like pages turning in an ancient book. Summer brings sweltering heat beneath heavy kimono. Winter wraps you in silk that provides beauty but little warmth. Each season demands different performances, different flower arrangements in your hair, different colors painted across your lips. You learn to read weather in the requests of clients, to become whatever reflection of beauty they seek in the changing light. Your body begins to show the cost of this artful existence. Your feet, compressed into narrow shoes for years, ache with each step. Your back, held straight through countless hours of formal sitting, develops a permanent tension that massage cannot touch. Your hands, constantly posed and positioned, sometimes forget how to move naturally. The geisha you've become is exquisite, but she's been carved from the flesh and spirit of someone else entirely. New apprentices arrive, their eyes bright with dreams you remember having once. You teach them the small secrets your sensei never shared, the tiny rebellions that preserve sanity within suffocating tradition. How to breathe during the tightest obi tying, how to rest your feet during long performances without breaking character, how to cry silently so the makeup never runs. These girls look at you with admiration that cuts deeper than criticism, seeing achievement where you feel loss. Letters from home grow shorter, more distant. Your mother's health fails, your father grows old. Your siblings create families you'll never quite belong to. The village life that once seemed confining now appears precious in its simplicity. You send money regularly, supporting the family that sold your childhood for their survival. Your sacrifice feeds them, clothes them, educates the brothers who carry the family name, while you carry its shame and pride in equal measure. The mirror shows changes time brings to even the most carefully preserved faces. Lines appear despite the finest powders. Your smile requires more effort to maintain its perfection. Younger geishas debut with the freshness you once possessed, and clients' attention shifts like summer wind changing direction. You adapt, developing new skills, deeper artistry, the seasoned beauty of a woman who has mastered not just performance, but survival itself. Some nights, you sit alone with your shamisen, playing melodies that no one requests, songs that speak to the girl who still lives somewhere beneath the layers of tradition and expectation. The strings vibrate with emotions you're never allowed to express publicly, sorrows, and joys that belong to you alone. In these private moments, your fingers find their own music, creating something that belongs neither to ancient tradition nor client expectation, but to the heart that still beats beneath the perfect facade. The Ochaya becomes a world complete unto itself, its walls containing entire lifetimes of careful performance. You know every board that creaks beneath silk slippers, every shadow that falls across painted screens at different hours. This place has shaped you into something beautiful and broken, precious and lost. You are its greatest creation and its willing prisoner, a masterpiece that breathes and aches and dreams of something it can no longer name. Years flow like water through cupped hands, each day a drop that slips away despite your efforts to hold it. The girl from the countryside exists now only in moments between performances, in the space between sleeping and waking, in the pause between one painted smile and the next. She whispers sometimes, asking if this life was worth the beauty it created, if the art justified the artist's slow disappearance into her own creation. The afternoon light catches dust motes dancing through the Ochaya like tiny spirits, and you realize 30 years have passed since you first knelt in this same room. Your reflection in the polished bronze mirror shows a woman whose beauty has evolved into something deeper, more complex than the fresh-faced girl who once trembled before her first client. The white powder still transforms your features, but now it covers lines that speak of countless smiles, tears held back, and wisdom earned through decades of careful performance. Your hands move with the certainty of ritual as you apply the familiar makeup. But today, something feels different. A weariness has settled into your bones that no amount of rest can touch. The young apprentices watch you with the same reverence you once reserved for your sei, seeking Sen guidance in the tilt of your head, the precision of your brushstrokes. You've become what you once aspired to be, yet the victory tastes like ash mixed with honey. The shamisen rests beside you, its strings worn smooth by your fingers over countless evenings. When you lift it, the wood feels lighter than it once did, or perhaps your arms have grown stronger from carrying its weight through decades of performance. The melody that emerges speaks of autumn leaves falling, of seasons that return, but never quite the same. Your music has developed its own voice now, distinct from the traditional pieces you learned, infused with something that belongs entirely to your experience. A knock at the door announces your final appointment of the evening. As you rise, silk rustling around you like whispered secrets, you catch sight of that girl from the countryside in your peripheral vision. She's older now too, her face marked by the same years, but her eyes still hold questions you've never learned how to answer. The door slides open with its familiar whisper, and you step forward into the lamplight, carrying both the geisha you've become and the woman you've never stopped being, their two heartbeats finally learning to move in rhythm together. This is the life of a geisha, where perfect beauty becomes both crown and cage. You've walked through decades of silk and shadow, trading childhood dreams for artistic mastery, personal identity for cultural preservation. Every morning you painted a face that wasn't quite your own. Every evening you performed emotions you couldn't fully express. The shamisen strings that once felt foreign beneath your fingers now sing with your voice, carrying stories of sacrifice that only you can tell. Your existence has been poetry written in powder and pain, a living artwork that breathes and bleeds in dreams of simpler times. You've mastered the impossible balance of being seen yet invisible, desired yet untouchable, celebrated yet profoundly alone. The apprentices who watch you now see only the grace, not the countless hours of practice that carved it from raw determination. They see the art, not the artist who slowly disappeared into her own creation. But perhaps that's the true mastery of your craft. Not the perfect tea ceremony or flawless dance, but the ability to transform personal loss into cultural treasure. To make your individual story part of something larger and more enduring than any single life. The girl from the countryside still whispers in quiet moments, asking if the price was worth paying. The answer lives in the shamisen haunting melody, in the faces of those you've taught, in the beauty that will outlive you all. Some sacrifices become sacred when they preserve what the world cannot afford to lose.